Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and in this video we are again going to work on customizing the bottom tab bar in .NET MAUI Shell Apps. Okay, in previous video we have seen how can we add gradient tab bar, gradient background to the bottom tab bar, and in this video we are going to see how can we have rounded corners on the bottom tab bar, and then how to add some margin from all sides to give it a look of floating bottom tab bar. Okay, so this is what we are going to see in this current video. But before continuing on this video, I would recommend you guys to check out the previous video, that gradient tab bar, because in that video and in this current video we are going to work on the platform specific code using shell handlers. So to get a better understanding of that, I would highly recommend you guys to check the previous video. Okay, so I'm going to drop link of that video in the description box so you can check that out. All right, so here what I have done, I have added these two new pages, new page 1, new page 2. I have created this new project rounded floating tab bar, then these two pages. Then in the app shell.xml, I simply added this tab bar and then added these two here so that we can see a bottom tab bar here. And let's have icons as well. So icon that .NET, that default image which we have, right? .NET underscore bot.png, right? This one. Let's use this for all. Okay. After that, what I have done, I went to the platforms Android folder, and here I have added this new class rounded floating tab bar handler. Okay, the namespace is same, the project namespace. Then I derive this class from the shell renderer, and then inside this we are overriding this method create bottom nav view appearance tracker, right? And from here I am returning an instance of this class which I just created here, which is a subclass of shell bottom nav view appearance tracker. And here I have added the set appearance method. We are going to have our code inside this method. Okay, so for all these things, as I already mentioned the previous video, you can go there, and in there I explained a little bit about these things, so it's better to watch that video before continuing on this one. And after that I have done something similar for the iOS. So in iOS I added this rounded floating tab bar handler, the same class name, and here again shell renderer, and this time we are overriding create tab bar appearance tracker. From here we are returning this class, and this class is here, which is a subclass of shell tab bar appearance tracker. And here we are going to override our update layout method. Okay, so we are going to have our code in this class for iOS and in this class rounded floating tab bar handler for Android. And after that I went to the MAUI program.cs. Here on this builder I have added this .configure MAUI handlers, and inside this handlers we are adding for shell you need to use this handler. And this is, we have defined two classes, one for Android, one for iOS. That's why I'm adding this condition here, hash if Android or iOS, then just use this. So for Android it is going to go to the Android specific class, and for iOS it is going to go to the iOS specific. All right, so this is what I have done so far. Now we are going to have our logic here. First we'll work on Android. Alright, so in this set appearance method, we will have our code. So here on this bottom view, we can add a background. And this background is going to be of type drawable. Okay, so for this drawable, we are going to use a container kind of thing. So in this, let's call it tab bar drawable. And here we are going to use it as new gradient drawable. Now this gradient drawable, this is a subclass of drawable, so we can use this. But we are using gradient drawable, but we are not going to use any gradient specific thing. But if you want to, you can use. You can add the gradient direction, that gradient type, and then gradient colors and all. You can add those, but this is not about that. This is going to be simply just rounded corners, and also we are going to use that only. So on tab bar drawable, we are good. Now here on this drawable, we have a method tab bar drawable dot, we have set corner radii. Here we have an array of float, and here it says an array of length greater than equals 8 containing 4 pairs of x and y radius for each corner specified in pixels. So how it works is we need to have 8 values here. Those are going to be radius for x and y axis, and these are going to start from top left. So first pair top left, then top right, then bottom right, then bottom left. Okay, so now here comes what is our use case, what we want. Let's say we want to have the bottom side we don't want to touch, but on the top side we are going to have rounded corners. Okay, so if you want to do that, that means it will start from top left. So for top left, let's have something like 40, 40, 40, x and y. Then for the top right, same 40 and 40. And then the bottom right and bottom left, we are going to have 0 and 0. So this first pair is for top left, the second pair is for top right, this 0 0 is for bottom right, this 0 0 is for bottom left. Now we need to provide all 8 values if we are using this. And then our corner ready is ready. Okay, so we have set all these things. Now we just need to set this to this background, and we are done. Let's see, we are going to enhance this, we are going to see the other enhancements to this, but right now let's see how it looks. I have connected my phone, Android phone. Let's try to run it, and it is going to take some time because I'm running it for the first time. So let's wait for it. So app is here, and right now we can't see anything. That's because we didn't add any background here. So let's do this. Let's maybe add a background here. So for that, what we can do on this tab bar drawable, we can simply say tab bar drawable dot set background or set color. Set color. Let's have some color. So let's say colors dot, let's maybe have blue or to platform. Save it, and let's try to restart our app. Alright, so now we can see we have our tab bar with these rounded top corners. Okay, now the color is not good. I didn't choose the right color here, but you get the idea. We can see this thing. Now maybe instead of blue, maybe let's use yellow color, and let's increase this radius. So maybe let's make it 50. Save it. Let's try to restart. Then I'm going to show you some other thing. We are going to enhance this basically. And we have this. Okay, so rounded color, you can play around with these values, with these. Now right now we are having this hard coded color here. What if we don't want this hard coded color? We want this color to come from the main app shell. So in that case, what we can do, let me comment this thing out here, go to the app shell, and here we can say shell dot tab bar background color. Let's have it orange. Save it. and let's try to restart it. Save all files, restart, and now we can't see any color here, but we have set this orange color, right? But that is not there. So the thing what is happening here, in our set appearance method, here we have created a gradient drawable. So this is totally a new UI element which is getting added on top of the existing tab bar. That's why we can't see that color here. Now what we want to do, but you saw that we can set the color here. Now we want a way by which we can simply access this color here in our code. So for this what we can do, here we have this second parameter as appearance, I shell appearance element, right? So here what we can do, we can simply use appearance dot, here we have a lot of properties, and these properties, if you see, effective tab bar background color, effective tab bar disabled color, effective tab bar foreground color, all these properties are same as we have in app shell with shell dot. So shell dot tab bar background color becomes appearance dot effective tab bar background color. So here what we can do, we can say appearance dot effective tab bar background color. You can use this color to set the tab bar drawable dot set color, and we can simply add this. Now again, this is a color, C# color, so let's make it Android specific. So now we have this set color like this. Save it. Let's try to restart. Now it should show the orange color. So here if you see, we have now orange color. Cool. So this is how we can have rounded corners. Okay. Now let's take a step further. Right now we are using these specific things. Let me put these things here. So X and Y radius starting from top left, then top right, then bottom right, and then bottom left. This is the order. Okay. Now, what if we want to have the same value for all corners? Okay. So one approach is we can simply duplicate this. I'm going to comment this out in this case. And then we can simply have the same value 50, 50, 50, 50. 8 times 2, 4, 6, 8. Or if we have the same value for all the corners, then we have one more method which is simple set corner radius. Here we can provide one value. In this case, let's have it 50. Here we'll say if we want to have the same value radius for all corners, then we can use this set corner radius method. Try it out, save it, and let's restart. Now if you see, we have the same radius for all corners, right? If you can see it here, here. So this is how we can have rounded corners for all the sides, two sides, or one side, or any corner. You have complete control over these things, where what corner you want rounded and all. All right. Now let's move forward. When we have this all rounded corner, then there should be some spacing from left and at least from left and right. We can have from bottom as well to give it a floating appearance. Okay. So for this, what we can do here, let's go to the end. After this set background, maybe here on the bottom view, we have layout parameters property. Okay. So we'll say var layout parameters. Now this layout parameters, if we go to this property, navigating, let's stop this build first. Let's go to this. Come on. So this is of type view group dot layout params. And if you go to this layout params, here this is this, where is this layout params? Oh, what did I do? Layout params. Yes. We have this layout params. Here we have a couple of things, but within the same file after layout params, we have this margin layout params, which is a derived class, subclass or child class to this layout params. And on this margin layout params, we have different margins: top margin, right margin, left margin, bottom margin. And we have one helper method here which says set margins left, top, right, bottom. So we can use this, or all these properties are get set. So we can directly set these things as well. Okay. So we are going to use this margin layout params. Now, because this is a subclass of layout params, and in C Sharp, in inheritance, object oriented programming, we can hold the child's reference in parent object, right? So here what we can do right now, this layout parameter, this is of type layout params. Layout params from view group, right? View group dot layout params. View group dot layout params. Now here we need to get the child from this, that margin layout params. So for this what we can do, we can simply say this. Let's say var margin layout params equals, we can maybe typecast is as margin layout params. Now this is not a good approach. If we want to typecast something, it's always a good idea to use pattern matching with this if syntax. Here we'll say if layout parameters is margin layout params, and here within the same line we can have the variable name as well. Now it will typecast is, it will check if it is not null, then only we will come inside this if condition. And here we can have our margins. Okay. So what we can do here, we can simply say margin layout params dot set margins. Now we can have left, top, right, bottom. So from left, let's maybe have 50, from top 0, from right 50, and from bottom again let's say 0. Okay, save it. Now we have modified this thing. We didn't modify the actual direct value here. So what we can do here, we can simply say bottom view dot layout parameters to this new margin layout parameter. Okay. Now let's save it and let's try to run it and we'll see if we have something. Now we can see spacing from left and right. Right? You can have these other things. So this last one is bottom. So here let's say 30 or maybe same 50. Save it, refresh, restart. And now we have the spacing from here as well. And now it looks exactly like that floating thing. Now there is one slight issue with this. I could not find a solution for this. I don't know if this is possible or not, or I don't know. Let me show you what that is. Right now everything looks fine. If I go to this main page, this main page.xml, and let me copy everything here so that we can have more content which we can simply scroll. So I'm going to paste same content couple of times, and then if we open our app, we can see the content here. If you see this section, after a tab bar, we have some spacing here, right? We have a margin of 50 pixel, right? Where was it? Was here, this bottom. But what it does, it is kind of a dead space for us. The main content, it is not going behind this. So this is the issue, or maybe this is the behavior it has. I don't know if we can modify it or not. But the great thing is, on iOS, this is truly floating. That means this content on iOS, this section, if you see bottom section here, the margin space, this is not dead space on iOS. This thing is going to be on behind of it, and we can see that text or content or whatever it is, whatever content we have on the page, we can see here. So this is a thing which we should consider, and we should know that this happens here. All right. So looks like we are good with Android. We have seen how to have the specific rounded corner. Then we have seen how to use the rounded corner for all the corners. After that, we have seen how to add the margin from all the sides to give it a floating look and feel. All right. And we have seen this additional thing also. We can handle the color from the main app shell. Cool. So for Android, this is all. Now let's go to the iOS code. So for iOS as well, we have the same file, rounded floating tab bar handler. And here we have this update layout method. Here we are going to have our code. So I had a hard time figuring out all the correct methods, properties and all for iOS. Right now, I'm just going to write down the code. I will not be able to show you the final output. I don't have my Mac right now. So, but it should work because I have already tried it. I have tested it and it works. So let's try. Let's try to implement it. So here in iOS side, we have layers. Okay, core animation layers basically. So here we are going to have a shape layer, which is going to be new CA shape layer. And inside this, we are going to have a lot of properties. Now, one of the properties we are going to use is the frame. It is going to tell us what all area we want this layer to fit in. So we want this layer to take the entire tab bar. Okay. So for this, what we can use on this controller which we are getting as a parameter, this controller has a tab bar property, and in tab bar property we have different things. We have frame, we have bounds. This bounds is a rectangle, CG rect, right? CG rect, and this frame is also of type CG rect. So we have said that what area we want this layer to apply to. After this, we have in this shape layer, we have a path. Shape layer dot path. Now this path, this is the thing which is going to be apply, and in our case we want a rounded rectangle, right? So for this we are going to use this path. For rounded rectangle, in this we have UI Bezier path dot from rounded rect. So we have multiple overload methods. One is the rect, the bounds, the main area, and the corner radius. If we have same corner radius for all four corners, then we can use this one. Or we can have one more version of this where we have rect, then UI rect corner, which is an enum, and then the radius size. Okay, so here we are going to use this one because first thing we want to have the top left and top right. Okay, let's have it rounded top left and top right corners of the bottom tab bar. Let's have this. So here inside this, first thing we want the entire area. So that is going to be this core controller.tabbar.bounds. Then second parameter we are going to use this UI rect corner. So UI rect corner dot, here we have top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left, or all corners. We have all these options. So right now, let's say we are using top left. Then we need this CG size. So new CG size. Inside this, we need to provide CG point, or we can use width and height. So we are going to use this width and height, same 50-50, which we have used in our Android version. Now there is some problem. What is the problem? It says it cannot convert CG path to Bezier path. So from round rectangle on this, we have a property which is dot CG path. Let me move it to multiple lines so that it's easy to understand, easy to navigate, like this. Now right now if you see, we are just setting for top left, but we want top left and top right. So here if we go to this enum, this enum is actually a flag. So if you are familiar with enum flags in C#, we can chain them. We can have a combination of these with or unary or. So UI rect corner or top left, and then you are going to say UI rect corner dot right. Now it is going to be applied for both of these corners. Using this, we have our shape layer ready. After this, we need to add this shape layer to the main controller. So controller dot tab bar. Now here we have multiple options. First we have a layer. Inside layer we have insert sublayer. We can use this insert sublayer, and here we can have this shape layer. But the problem with this approach is this insert actually have an index as well, but we can have the add sublayer method. But there is a problem with this add sublayer method. What it does, it works. It gives us these rounded corners, but it has the main appearance as well. That means we are going to see the main bottom tab bar with that proper line, and inside that we are going to see this rounded rectangle one. But this is not what we want. So this add sublayer is not the method which we want. Then this layer is not setter. On this layer we have a mask property. We can have this new shape layer as a mask layer on this layer, and now it works the way we want it to work. All right, now what if we don't want? So it will work. Now if we want to have the same for all the same radius for all corners, we have two options. One option is we can simply have this, and instead of this top left, top right, we can directly have dot all corners. It is going to work. Or we have one more approach, and that approach is, if you already, I already showed you that in this we can have one overloaded method which says that just use the rect and the corner radius direct value, or this one. So you can use this one if you want to, the first one. Okay, let's settle with this, which is more explicit. It tells us what it is doing. Now when we have this thing, then we want some spacing. The same way, if all the corners are rounded, then we need that spacing from left, right, and bottom. So for margins, we have this controller, we have tab bar, and then we have this frame. Okay, this frame, again this is a CG rect which has x, y, width and height. Okay, so on the basis of this, what we need to do right now, this frame, this is taking up the entire bottom tab bar, starting from the corner, left corner of the screen to right corner of the screen and the bottom corner of the screen, right? So here we somehow need to modify this frame to tell it that you should have some spacing from left and right and from bottom. It's up to us. If we want, then we can have. Okay, so for this, what we'll do, we'll simply have it in an existing variable. We'll say existing frame equals this controller.tabbar.frame. Now comes what margin we want. So if we see the Android one, we have used 50. So here also let's have 50. Var margin equals 50. It should be double or float, we'll see. So margin 50. Now here, on the basis of this, we need to have a new frame. That means new CG rect. That means new x and y coordinate and height and width. Okay, so here we'll say var, let's say new x equals, it is going to be existing frame dot x. Now we need to understand how this is going to work. Let's say we have, let's say this was our x. Okay, now we want some spacing here, some margin. This is our new one. So here, if we add some margin from here, you see, I'm adding this margin. So right now this was the x, but now whatever margin I need, I want to add it to the x coordinate, right? So new x is going to be now existing x, which was this one. It should have been here, but we want to move it right toward, right? So we need to add this margin to the existing x value. So here we'll say x plus margin. Cool. Now we don't have this right x value, but we have the width. So new width equals, now if you see here, what should be the width? Width should be exactly same. If it would be exactly same, then it will look like this. So this will go beyond this section. But this is not what we want. We want the same margin from right as well. So here if we see, first we need to remove one value. And what is this value? This value is what we added here in the left side. That means we need to remove this value. And this is a margin value. If I do this, that means here in this new width, we want to do existing frame dot width minus margin. Okay, but now if you see, right now this will be at the very end of the right side, the right corner. It will going to touch the right corner, but we want margin from the right side as well. So that means we need to have one more margin removed from right side. So this is what we need finally. That means we need to remove one more value, same margin value, like this. So we need to minus or remove twice the margin from the width. Then we are going to have this thing, right? So now there can be different cases. So this is the correct thing. This is the actual thing. Now if you want to have, you can simply rewrite it in, let's say 2 into margin, 2 times margin. So these two things are same. Okay, so let's use this one. This is more explicit, and here I showed you why we are doing this. All right, now If we just want to work on the left and right, we don't want to work on the margin from the bottom, then we are good with this. We just need to have the height and new y. So new y equals to, it is going to be the same y, no need to do anything. And the new height, HEIGST, this is also going to be the same height, no need to do anything because we are not modifying the height. So using this, we are okay. Now here we can say var new rectangle equals, or we could say new rect frame. Here we'll say new CG rect. Now we need to have our, we can have location or size, or we can have this one, double x, y, width and height. Okay. Have new x, new y, new width, new height. Now we have our new rectangular frame, and we just need to use this to set this tab bar dot frame. So here we'll say controller dot tab bar dot frame equals new rect frame. Now we are good. Here we are just having spacing from the left and right. If you want to have the same spacing from y as well, so here on the y you can do the same thing. Okay, simply minus margin. If you want to have the same margin, if you want to have different value, then you can have that spacing from the bottom. So it is totally up to you how, what you want to do. Okay, let's maybe have some 25 value to have some spacing. Let half of this, or maybe 40 if you want to have a more. So this is how it is going to work now. Now everything is fine, but there is one issue with this thing. And that issue is right now, first what we are doing, we are using this shape layer with the tab bar bounds. This bounds is actually having the dimensions, the left, right, height, width, etc. of the current controller tab bar. First, we are doing this thing, and after that we are modifying, or we are adding this tab bar frame. So now we are going to have different, the calculation is going to be different for rounded rectangle, then we are going to add margin. So this is not the correct way. Instead, what we should do, we should move this thing before calculating or before generating this rounded rectangle thing. Here we can have this thing first, and then when we'll do this, we'll say controller.tabbar.bounds and all, it will actually use these new values. Okay, so here what we can have, maybe we can break this down into multiple methods, small utility methods we can have, or simple local functions we can have, or we can have this simple private void, let's say add margins, a tab bars, things like this. And we can move this logic, this adding margin related things, this value. Okay, now we need controller as a parameter, which is of type UI tab bar controller. Let's have it here. Okay, then let's just use this here, add margins to the tab bar and just pass this controller. Okay, now after this we have this thing. If you want to, you can move this to the separate method as well if you want to, but I just showed you that you can do this as well. So using this, you will have the similar behavior. You will have the rounded rectangle, you will have the margins from left, right and bottom. So this is how you can do this for the iOS. So I guess this is all for this video. In this video, I showed you how to customize the bottom tab bar by adding the left, right and bottom margins, and then having the rounded rectangle, single corner, top left, top right corner, or all the corners. I have showed you everything. Yeah, I think that's all for this video. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe my channel. I'll be back soon with some other cool video. Till then, bye bye. Happy coding.